That one titled Musadi, a woman. And with that context in mind, let's get into our next conversation. That is with Pakama Qwalana, who joins us this evening. Of course, we began with that powerful pre-record where Pakama shared her story, her lived experience of surviving a violent relationship and her journey to becoming a gender-based violence ambassador for the Department of Social Development here in South Africa. Now, through her work, Pakama supports creatives, particularly poets in her community, using expression as a pathway for reporting, healing, and survival. Pakama, thank you so much for joining us. Firstly, we are just indebted to you for sharing your story with us. Truly appreciate it. I think I was sort of caught at the end where you were mentioning that you had seen the caliber of weight that your relationship had found you in, and you went on even to express that you were married at this stage and how you saw the need for change. Now, in your work, in the work that you do you see people have that turning point where they're like, I now know things need to change. I cannot stomach this anymore. I cannot protect this person anymore. I need to start protecting myself.
First of all, I'd like to thank you and thank you for the listeners of African Diaries. I'm very honored to be here today and to share my story. Yeah, it's very rare from my experience where I'm coming from after joining GBV campaign, whereby I am now a GBV ambassador, where women get to the point where they're certain about making that choice, where they're like, you know what, get me out and get me out now. There's always skepticism. And speaking from a point of experience, I could relate. I always understand. I was once at that point at some time. And it's just a matter of having people that can understand you better and be patient with you and try and walk with you, hold your hand while you enjoy and experience all that traumatic experience, you know. Yeah. So it's not an easy quit, you know. I have not really met many people who get to that point easily.
Sure. Pakama, I want to go back to parts of your story, and I'm doing this because I do feel like the ability for one to see the correlation between what you once went through and the place that you find yourself in will give them maybe the courage to change context, right? I think one thing that stood out for me is you started off by saying that we don't have enough time to go through everything I went through. And I think that sometimes we are so weighted by everything. It's not just the abuse, it's the investment that you put in, right? And you thinking that your context is going to change. Now, in the context of the creatives, the poets, the people that you encounter who are like, but I have invested, you know, I have put my weight's worth in there, and it's difficult for me to pull away from this context. How do you even begin a conversation where you're telling them, listen, you should pull out now?
You don't.
Sure.
You can't, because honestly, until you are in their shoes, you could never understand. You could never relate. It's easy for the other person on the other end. You know, there's this question that they always ask. Why are you still there? Why are you not leaving? You know, and it doesn't matter what answer you give. It's never good enough for you to stay. But it's the things it's the reasons, or they call them excuses. You know, there are the people that are observing the whole entire experience. They call it, oh, you've got an excuse for this. No, man, just pack and go. Oh, it is not that easy. It is not that easy, and it's not that simple. I don't want to lie. So even from where I stand today with the experience that I have, I could never tell that person other than just ask, what is your plan? What are you hoping for? Is there anything I can help? right now? Is there anything I can do to help you right now? And other than that, it always has to come from the person where they finally feel that they've been, set free, and it all begins with themselves. It's not even about who does what for them, but finally finding yourself and understanding that your life is worth more than anything, more than what you think you have built, more than what you think you have actually believed in. And I call it an illusion because, honestly speaking, if it was love, we shouldn't be going through such pain. Love is not like that.
Yeah.
So, you think of your children, and truth be told, when it comes to kids, yes, you think about their well-being, and it always also get tied to the financial constraint or dependency. You understand? And you think, if I take these kids, maybe I will survive, but how am I going to cater for them? How am I going to care for them? And you find that the man of the house is the one that provides. But in the process of all of that, you're still enduring. There's just one thing I want to quickly rectify. I wasn't married. I was in a relationship, and the guy had literally proposed to me probably more than 5 times. And here's the silly part is that we remained calling each other fiancé, boy, partner. He hated the fact that I would address him as boyfriend because he would say, if it wasn't for you, we would be married. So I think you should treat me like your husband. So I was like, the closest thing now is to call you fiancé because we aren't literally married. So with that partner that I've been with for so long, for me, it was always about the kids. What do I do when I get out? And like I always say, they first dismantle you. Like it's like they amputate you, literally. You feel very stagnant. You can't move. You can't make decisions of your own. You feel dependent on this person. Everything needs to you have to ask, is this okay? Is it okay if I get that job? Is it okay if I try this business out? And the moment they see that what you are actually asking for has a very big potential of empowering you and you could literally be free, they will definitely make sure that you don't even try that out. If you do, you are definitely going to pay the price. And that being either violence or emotional or psychological, even financial. You sometimes go and try things out and come home and be like, hey, this is how much I've made. This is how the business I've tried. And they will definitely take away that money from you because for the longest time they've been catering for you. And therefore, what is this penny that you are bringing compared to the years I've lived with you and provided for you? So you feel like you owe them. You also give to them and be like, okay, see what we can do. And I remember this one time in my situation, I used to do wine distribution and I used to promote wine, and I'm a very I'm very business minded, so I like trying things, and I really wanted to do these sales. And I was like, you know what, I'm thinking, let me go and open an event and do this and do this. I made a lot of money that day. I remember the next day when I woke up, my card was empty. He literally used every cent, even the money I wanted to go and buy stock again with. And he was like, you know what? I'm not comfortable with my wife selling alcohol to other men on the street. But where is the money? No, you don't need that money. If you need money, I'll give you money. You understand? So and then from that moment, you feel paralyzed, and they continue providing. And some people who are watching from a distance will be like, no, it's because he's doing A and B and C and D, and you're looking at this, you're like, basically what I'm getting from here is a shelter and a plate of food and a couple of slaps and swear words and, a lot of trauma that comes with it. It's not like there's an allowance, that you can say, oh, you know what? I can go and pay for therapy after this. It's okay. It's not like that. So that is also another bigger thing. For me, if I can go back, it's it's also the manipulation,
Yeah.
how the fights will start also. You 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 end up being so confused with your own life. You will open the fridge to take out an apple and you will end up taking a teaspoon and leave it in the fridge. And that's how bad it is.
Sure.
And that alone is going to trigger him also. And he doesn't care that the reason why you are at that point is because of how they've been treating you. And long story short, after enjoying all of that, I always knew that something is wrong and I need to get out of here. But the more I stayed and tried to come up with a perfect plan, the more I drowned.
Sure.
And I even said in the
Yeah.
voice note that there was even a time where I didn't feel that life was worth living. And I was like, you know what? Maybe it's best I leave those kids and just, because right now I don't recognize myself. I don't love this person. And when you come out of there, you think of another plan. And the closest plan is that, okay, now I need to protect myself. Now you're going to try and fight back. And this is a man you're fighting. I mean, the strength is not matched at all,
Yeah.
You're going to give it your all. At the end of the day, you're fighting with a man,
Sure.
So, and also you don't want to traumatize the kids where they are now experiencing both parents, fighting, being violent in their presence. You're always protecting them. I never wanted my kids to see me being violent, but whenever I get a chance, I'll probably throw in 2 or 3 punches quickly, But I was like, no, man, I don't like this person I'm becoming.
Yeah.
Now I'm always out in the look. I have to protect myself. I have to look over my shoulder. I have to look for a gap or a chance. When can I quickly throw my punches? And that is not how life should be,
Sure. Yeah.
That's how bad it was. That's how bad it was.
The voice there of gender-based violence ambassador. Of course, we can also hear that she comes from the experience thereof, however, has conquered and is helping others conquer. Her name is Pakama Qwalana, joining us this evening, 40 after 11 p.m. Central Africa time. A quick breather, then we continue conversations with Pakama.
From Cape to Cairo, every beat tells a story. It's African Diaries on Channel Africa.
19 before midnight Central Africa time. We're still in conversation with Pakama Qwalana, who is a gender-based violence ambassador for the Department of Social Development in South Africa. Pakama, let's talk about your work and some of the things that you have done, some of the cases that you have dealt with, right? Just to give context for those who are asking, what is a gender-based violence ambassador? What do you do? Let's give that context quickly.
Okay, thank you. I love this question. It's actually my favorite because I always feel like I need to explain this. Gender-based violence is violence against any gender. It could be a male, it could be a female, could be a child, could be, your trans and, your LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
It has no color, it has no gender. It's all gender, And as much as I'm a female and I am a survivor of GBV myself, but I don't only stand for women. I fight for children's rights. I fight for men included, and I have been also exposed in the LGBTQ community cases as well. And, to show and give context that it's not an exclusive program or campaign. It actually covers everybody, that is basically what it is. So when you're experiencing any sort of abuse, no matter what gender you are, we are the people to actually help with that. I believe so.
And just for the purposes of those who are thinking to themselves, I am a survivor. I believe that I have knowledge to share, I want to assist, I want to help, how do they go about starting that process?
There is a helpline for GBV, which I'll share by the end of the show, and I've also had on um, your ad breaks that it's also announced. You can call that helpline and you can ask for guidance. I mean, it depends on the area you're in. Unfortunately, I don't have much information as how to join in the other areas. But also, if you have a Department of Social Development near you, you can just go in and just, voluntarily. I volunteered and I wanted to help the ones that couldn't help themselves, like myself. And truth be told, that program for me, it helped me a lot with myself before I could even help others. I did a 6 months course training, and I even graduated. So it's a proper learning program that social development provides. So it equips you how to deal and how to go about our gender-based cases, and also even if you're not a victim but you are um, exposed in the environment as such, it also helps you understand how to also handle these cases and who to contact, when to contact, and how to obviously handle the whole case. So um, it's something I would encourage a lot of people, not women only, even men, to come together and go and ask for this program so that they can also be of good help in their communities, because these things, they happen within our homes, within our next door neighbors, and sometimes people want to help but they don't know how. And through this program, you can also get education. And I mean, it really does help in terms of understanding what this is and how dangerous it is. And with you being fully equipped around this, how much of help you could be in your community and even in your family.
Pakama, we will leave it there for now. Thank you so much for giving us your time this late hour.
My
We
pleasure.
appreciate you on the show. And also, thank you so much for sharing your story as well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this, and thank you for having me.
The voice there of Pakama Qwalana, who joins us, gender-based violence ambassador for the Department of Social Development in South Africa. 14 minutes before the show comes to an end, we take a quick music break. On the other side of that, we will pay some bills and then touch base with Morris Touch.